All right, this is Boxing with the Truth. I am the Truth. Today is September 4th, 2016. And today we have with us boxing legend and former WBC World Super Welterweight Champion, Christy Martin. How you doing today, Christy?
I am good, and thank you so much for having me on with you, and you know, it's always a pleasure to talk boxing.
Well, and that's what I want to do, but first, for some of the fans that aren't familiar with who you are, you basically helped women's boxing come to the forefront, and I know there's other female boxers out there that did as well, but, you are probably one of the most known female boxers out there. Your record is unbelievable, not just for a female boxer, but just a boxer in general. 49 wins, 31 knockouts, 7 losses, and 3 draws. There's male boxers that never get a record that looks like that.
You know, I was so blessed and so fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. Signed with Don King, fighting under Mike Tyson, Julio Cesar Chavez, Felix Trinidad. It's so many great legends, Hall of Famers. Just like I said, I was ready to take advantage of the opportunity given to me. But I was so lucky to be given that opportunity because so many fighters, male or female, are not. And they're good fighters, but just never in position to get the opportunity that I got.
And I want to back up a little bit because, no offense, but you're a small lady. You're 5'4". So how does this lady of your size get involved in this sport and become so, famous, basically? From what I heard, you started in tough women competitions. Is that true?
That's true. I was actually working on my degree at Concord College, a small school in West Virginia, playing basketball. And it came along that they were going to allow women to box in the tough man contest. So, they were going to have the whole women's division. And I thought, what a challenge. What a way to go out there and really challenge your inner being, your soul, your athletic skills, everything. And I absolutely fell in love with the sport. Just by taking that chance. And, a small town, southern West Virginia, so really there's not a lot to do. Big crowd, maybe like 3,000 people were there to watch. And they went crazy because you always see 2 women fight, and then I was able to knock people out, which was unbelievable in itself because I had never been in a boxing gym. I just had played basketball, and I was fighting, as we could say, tough women, and these were women that were just like barroom brawlers, or maybe they got into street fights. But I had a little athletic ability and a little smart when it came to just being in the ring, because I had watched boxing, but of course I had never performed or gone to a gym or trained or anything like that.
Okay, so you were a boxing fan before you stepped into the ring, though. You were familiar with the sport a little bit.
I was familiar with the sport, and growing up, my father watched boxing. Of course, it was live boxing on ABC Wide Water Sports. We could watch Ali, Kenny Norton, Hagler, Hearns. There's so many fights we got to see for free in those days. So I had watched fights with him. My dad's a big Ernie Shavers fan. So it was just a great opportunity for me to just take a chance on a sport that I had been familiar with, and I was a huge Hector Camacho fan. I thought he was the cutest thing that I had ever seen. So I, to get to try boxing was just a blessing.
Okay, now eventually, like you had already mentioned, you signed with Don King. And a lot of people, back when Don King signed you, nobody was really paying attention to female boxing. No promoters were signing female boxers. So what was it about you that Don King actually wanted to take a chance and try to make money on Christy Martin, this 5'4" welterweight, female boxer?
I can't really say why he gave me the opportunity, but he did. It was all about timing. It was about the same time that Tyson was getting released from prison. But I had been fighting in Daytona Beach, Florida, and a gentleman that was training heavyweights for Don at the time Jesse Robinson, who is now associated with Shannon Briggs, had seen me fight and seen me train, and he decided, you know what, let me just go talk to Don. Let me talk to him. Let me see if he'll meet with you. And by the grace of God and just a blessing, Don decided, yeah, I'll meet with her. And he gave me an opportunity. Really, he just treated me like another fighter, in my opinion. He didn't give me any breaks. I just had to fight. I fought my way from, 6-round fights up to 10-round fights. And then I fought from, being one of the early bouts to getting on to pay-per-view shows and Showtime. It was just a very learning experience, and then just a great. I had a great career. I mean, every step was just building on the step before, and I tried to always put on a good show for the fans.
Okay, and I want to talk about Don King just a second here, because a lot of people have a certain view of Don King. I've talked to other fighters, and a lot of guys have said they've been ripped off by Don King. They weren't treated right. But you have a different opinion of Don King. You say that Don King actually treated you really well. He gave you tons of opportunities, and if it wasn't for Don King, you probably wouldn't be in the public eye like you are, right?
Absolutely. And a lot of those fighters that are saying those things they're in the same boat. They just don't want to give someone else credit. And problem is, you can't take advances from King. You can't take words, whatever he says. No. You have to have it on paper. And once it was on paper, I got paid what I was supposed to be paid. He did what was on paper. If he just had a conversation with me and said, "Oh, Christy, you go out there and knock this girl out. I'll give you a bonus of $50,000." Well, he might have gave me a bonus of $5,000 or $10,000, but he didn't give me $50,000, and I didn't even expect that because it wasn't on paper. But if it's a contract, he signed it, you signed it. It's a legal document. You can't take him by his word, but at the same time, you can't just keep taking advances and think he's not going to take his first, because he is. But why shouldn't he? I am now put my hat in the promotion ring. And I'm going to tell you, if a fighter takes tickets from me and says I can sell the tickets and then doesn't bring the tickets or the money back, of course I'm keeping their first, because that's what they owe me.
Okay. So listen, now we got basically a lot of people call him the new generation Don King. We got Al Haymon out there, and some people like him and some people don't like him. It's kind of like the same impression that they've had on Don King over the years. But he seems to be doing a lot for boxing now. Him and Greg Cohn have gotten free boxing back on TV, and it's on more channels than I've ever seen it. And we've actually now just recently seen a female fight on TV that we haven't seen in years. And you are probably one of the females that have been on TV the most over your career, whether in the United States or in other countries. So it's good to finally see this back on TV. And I have to say, Heather Hardy and Shelly Vincent on August 21st, I give them both props. They came in, they represented not only female boxing, but boxing in a whole. They put on a great 10-round fight. They stood there, neither one of them backed up, and they just banged for 10 rounds. What was your impression of that fight?
I thought it was a great fight. I thought it was a great statement for women's boxing. I thought it was a great statement for boxing. I think that's the point we have to get to, where we as women, we just want to go out there and be good boxers. No, that's not the whole women's boxing thing. Let's just be good boxers and fit into the sport. I had sent Heather Hardy a message and told her that, hey, a lot of pressures on you. A lot of eyes are going to be on you. A lot of people are going to be looking for you to make mistakes. But it's your opportunity to go out there and convince people that women's boxing is worth giving an opportunity, given a chance. And I think that's exactly what she did. Both of them were very well prepared. They put on an exciting fight, and hopefully that will give her at least more opportunities to be seen on TV. And between DeBella and Al Haymon, they will continue to put women fighters on cards. You just can't just say, I'm a woman fighter, I deserve to be on the show. No, you have to be ready. You have to be a good fighter. You have to have your skills. You have to be in shape and have your skills tuned. And go out there and put on good shows. And that's the same thing when we see two guys who sneak up the show. We don't want to see them again. So it's all about the fighter. It's just male or female. You know, go out there and put on a good show.
Do you think that there should be a rematch in that fight? Do you think the fans would enjoy seeing that again?
I think the fans would enjoy seeing it again, but I also think that Heather Hardy should build off of that win and find somebody else. Like, I think maybe the Renos, they're in that weight class. Find somebody else, new blood, that's in that weight class, and challenge them. Someone else that's going to put on just as an exciting show. So people realize there are more than just those two women fighters out there. We need to see new blood in a women's fight division each and every time out. You know, just seeing the same fight, it's good for those two, but in order to really establish more boxing fans, I think that Heather needs to probably fight new blood.
Okay, and when it comes to Al Haymon, what's your opinion of what Al Haymon's doing in boxing right now, and him, your personal opinion of Al Haymon?
Yeah, I don't know Al Haymon personally, but I think what he's doing is good for boxing. I mean, he's putting boxing back on free TV. We have boxing on so many different channels that I didn't even know were channels. So that opportunity is what boxing world needs. It's what fighters need. You know, people want us to spend $60, $70 for a pay-per-view event to watch guys we've never seen before. So that doesn't get it. To me, I'm not going to spend $60 for pay-per-view a bunch of guys that I've never seen before because, you know, the main event may or may not be worth $60 on its own. So I want to see young, up-and-coming stars as they're building their career into becoming pay-per-view fighters. So this is an opportunity. Finally, someone has brought boxing back to, you know, Spike TV, NBC, you know, the sports station. I think it's great what he's doing. I understand that a lot of promoters are upset because it seems like he has all the dates and he's getting all the fighters. But, you know, if the top fighters fight each other and we just keep getting more fights on TV, more competitive fights on TV, I don't see how it hurts the sport.
Okay. So when you were fighting, did you have any superstitions?
Wow, good question. I think, you know, like I always put my right glove on first, and, you know, I had to get dressed in the exact same manner that I always did, but that's probably it. I mean, nothing major. I didn't have to eat the same thing or, you know, have the same person sitting in the same seat. It was, I was just always worried about that opponent across the ring.
Okay, and now you actually had another big accomplishment this year, I guess, but it was nice that you were actually recognized. You're the first female boxer to be put in the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, right?
Absolutely. And can you believe that? I mean, that was such an awesome call when Rich Moran called me to say that I had been inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. I really didn't know what to say to him. I mean, I'm sure I said thank you, but I just didn't know how to respond to it. And after the fact, after the ceremony, which was awesome the entire weekend, I brought to everyone's attention that the greatest thing happened that night, and that was when he announced me. He just announced Christy Martin, the fighter. It wasn't Christy Martin, the female fighter. It was just a fighter. So I felt like my career had really been legitimized. You know, that the fans got their money's worth. They knew that I was going to bring a fight each and every time out.
Speaking of legitimized, I came across a quote that was written about you, and I want to see how you feel about this. It says, Martin is said to be the most successful and prominent female boxer in the United States and the person who legitimized women's participation in the sport of boxing. How do you feel about that statement?
I think that's a very powerful statement, and I don't know if I deserve that or not. But again, it took a lot of people. You know, it took Don King giving me the opportunity. It took Mike Tyson being okay with me being on his shows, because it's like Tyson. He could have easily said, I don't want this woman on my fight. So, Showtime had to give me the chance. So, doing grand. There are a lot of people involved in me getting that opportunity to showcase my skills. So I'm glad, and I think I did help make it easier for some women that followed. But women's boxing, it seemed like it hit such a huge decline after my career. No other promoters, and none of the young guns, they wouldn't put women fighters on. And again, it's not just put them on because they're women. Put them on because they deserve the opportunity. And somebody like Heather Hardy, they deserve the opportunity. Clarissa Shields, I wonder if she's won 2 gold medals, and I kind of been sitting back watching as a professional promoter made a play for her. And then even if she turns pro, who's she going to fight? Someone asked me about it, and I said, personally, I think she's better to stay amateur. Go for that 3rd gold medal. She's young, and she has sponsors that are going to be with her, probably more so as an amateur than as a pro. If she stays in the amateur ranks, really, there's no young blood to come along that's really going to circulate an interest in women's boxing. So, we need somebody to stand up, somebody with a character, some personality, a story, just to sell the sport.
Okay, now I know a lot of fighters, sometimes when they retire, they look back at their career, and there's a lot of them always have that one fight that never happened or it was supposed to happen, and sometimes it eats away at them, sometimes they just, they get past it. But I noticed in your career there's one lady that you were supposed to fight, or there might have been a few, but I know one bigger name that you were supposed to fight, and then it never happened. So I want to know if it ever bothers you, if it's not a big deal. You and Lucille Riker were supposed to fight, and then that fell through.
It does bother me because I think that with that win, I really would have made a huge statement, and there's no question in my mind that I would have beaten her, and there's no question in her mind I would have beaten her. That's why she pulled out 7 days prior to the fight. So that one will probably stick with me forever, and of course it was $1 million payday, so that will stick with me for a long time. But yeah, I am disappointed that fight didn't happen for myself, but for the boxing fans. But I think that would have made a huge statement for my career. And the truth is, I think about that often. And really, when that fight fell through, I should have retired because I was devastated, and I had worked so hard. I was in such great shape for that fight. Really, if we look back at my record past when that fight was canceled, the record wasn't so stunning anymore. It really took a lot out of me. It took my heart, and it took a lot of the love for the sport at the time. But then later on, when I fought in 2011, the love was back. I was so ready to go forward with my career for a few more fights. But again, I was broke my hand in 9 places, went to surgery to have my hand fixed, and had a stroke. So, my boxing career really ended on that night. So Lucia will stick in my craw forever, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, well, let's talk about the fact that now you've actually taken a different road in boxing, though. You actually have become a promoter. A lot of people might not be aware of that. For is it called Pink Promotions, right?
Pink Promotions. We have for this first event, we've joined forces with Mercedes Vasquez and Pretty Girl Promotions, and we're going to do a show here in Charlotte, October 19th. We have a great NABF title fight, women's fight between Rosa Rodriguez and Naomi Vasquez, which I think will be the fight of the night. We have Christian Camacho, son of Hector Camacho. And we have some local kids. Clinton Rankin is a hard puncher. So it's going to be a great night of boxing, and it's a scary endeavor, but I do feel positive about it. Charlotte is not really a boxing hotbed, so if we can establish some good fights and some good credibility here, I think it can be a home for good title professional boxing.
So this is actually, I mean, this is just the way you started in the tough women's competitions. You're kind of just jumping in the ring as a promoter and hoping this takes you somewhere.
Absolutely, back to really a 4-round fighter and just starting at the bottom, and we'll see where it goes. I don't really anticipate ever being the next Dog King, but I do think that this can be successful, and we can have some, like I said, some good championship fights here. And as people see a positive output from my event, working with Mercedes, I think they're going to want to talk to me about bringing some better quality fighters here and even some championship bouts.
All right, and that actually is in North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, at the Grady Cole Center, correct? On October 19th, right?
Yes, it is. It's on a Wednesday night. We're going to start the weekend early. Didn't want to go against any of the high school, college football. But again, the old timers are going to remember Wednesday night used to be Wednesday night fight. So I think it'll be it's still going to be a great night. And like I said, why not kick the weekend off early and buy your tickets and get on out here. And let's have great support for these local kids and up and coming guys like Christian Camacho. He's fighting at 126, where I think, I'm not certain, but I think that's the weight that his dad won his first world title.
Okay, well, listen, Christy, I really appreciate you taking time out for this interview to talk about the women's boxing in general, where you're going with boxing, and a little bit about your career. And I hope everybody down in the Charlotte area comes out October 19th to support Christy Martin's first show, and hopefully not last, and we'll see her do many, many more, and hopefully some TV shows soon. So I really appreciate talking to you, Christy. Like I said, you're by far one of the best out there, and not just female, but a boxer.
Thank you so much, and thanks for taking the time to speak with me.
All right, and the truth has spoken.